All right, and for my last morning game, I have absolute favorite one. The Lions went into M&T Bank Stadium and got curb stomped.
Mm-hmm.
38-6, the Ravens won. That soft defense was only, Lions were only able to score 6 points on it. So that was pretty good to see for a Ravens fan. And funnily enough, even from a fantasy standpoint, the Lions didn't have a bad day.
No.
Um,
No.
Lions not named Jared Goff. Let me
Yeah.
put it at that.
Yeah.
I'll start with the Lions. Jared Goff was 33 for 53, 284 yards, no touchdowns, one interception, 10.4 points.
But
Pretty brutal day if you started him. It was going to be a rough start for him anyways, but nobody figured it'd be like that. The Lions didn't get their first down until they were already down 28-0. So by that time, pretty much everything was playing catch up, and it was just ugly.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs had his proverbial breakout game. There was one thing that we've talked about, that when the Lions are down, one thing that they will probably have to do is throw the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs a lot. And that's what they did in this one. He got 10 targets, caught 9 of them for 58 yards, had 11 rushing attempts for 68 and a touchdown. So have a day, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
He played 87% of the snaps. It looks like Craig Reynolds really was not that healthy. Only got 3 attempts, 16 yards, 1 catch for 9 yards. So yeah, I mean, if we are missing David Montgomery for another week, you're very clearly firing up Jahmyr Gibbs again, and he will be looks like top run. Oh, they play the Raiders next week.
Mm-hmm. Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, to the moon. Sam Laporta, I mean, had a good day. 6 catches on 7 targets for 52 yards. A lot of that came when they were already down. That does not matter for fantasy, though. 11.2 PPR points. You'll take that and run. Amon-Ra, if the Lions are down, like they're probably not going to end up down by multiple scores like that in too many games, given how good their offense is. The Ravens just came out and punched them in the mouth, and they couldn't respond. Amon-Ra had 19 targets, caught 13 of them for 102 yards, 23.2 PPR points. I mean, obviously, Amon-Ra, he's the PPR god, but you're not going to see like 20 targets every week. That was strictly because they had no other option but to pass the ball.
He had 15 last
So,
week.
no,
I know.
but
I know.
okay. Obviously, he is going to lead the team in targets every week and probably be at around or above 10. But
Yeah, not 19.
19 is just
No.
it's insane. Josh Reynolds, 2 catches on 3 targets for 43 yards. Said it didn't like starting him this week, or Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams did not do much. Didn't catch either of his 2 targets. And Josh Reynolds still out there for 73% of the snaps. So he is clearly their wide receiver too, even with the return of Williams.
Mm-hmm.
My Ravens. What a day. Lamar Jackson. What an amazing performance. 21, 27, 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, 9 attempts, 36 yards on the ground, a touchdown, and 1 fumble lost because Justice Hill, another miscommunication with Justice Hill. Anyways, Lamar got 33.9 fantasy points, second to only Patrick Mahomes so far. I mean, not much to say. Great day for Lamar. Starting him every week. Obvious QB1. Gus Edwards had an amazing day. I think it's clear that when it comes to the rushing, Gus Edwards is the guy. Had 14 attempts to Justice Hill's 4, 64 yards. Hill had 46. Justice Hill runs more routes, but still in this game, they each caught 1 pass. Justice Hills happened to go for 2 yards. And Gus's happened to go for 80.
Yeah.
So Gus, he's not a pass catching back, but he might get a target or two per game. He won't take them all for 80 yards, but he also got a touchdown on the ground. I think he is, when it gets to the goal line situations, he's their guy for that. They're not going to put Justice Hill in. If it's a little farther out, then Justice Hill will get a chance. But, I like Gus Edwards. They're still playing 50-50 on snaps, but I do like Gus. If the Ravens offense is going to be what we want it to be, scoring and moving the ball like this, Gus is going to get a lot more opportunities at the goal line.
Yeah.
So right now, with what we're looking at with a lot of other running backs, Ford just went down. I'm liking starting Gus Edwards. They're playing Arizona next week. So, yeah, he finished 21.4 PPR points. Have a day, Gus.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, my guy, 4 catches on 6 targets, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns on National Tight Ends Day. Nonetheless, I mean, there's not much to say about Mark. We already know you're starting him every week.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. Moving on to the receivers, Zay Flowers didn't get the touchdown this week, but had another pretty good day. 4 catches on 6 targets for 75 yards, 11.5 PPR points. Very clearly the, number one receiver in this room. Although this game we did see Odell Beckham kind of emerge and take his spot, which I believe it's going to be him, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, and then everybody else. This game, Odell was finally over 50% of the snaps, which was more than Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar, the other 2 receivers in this room. Odell was out there, caught 5 of his 7 targets for 49 yards, gave you 9.5 PPR points. I'm not saying we can count on this from Odell every week, given that this Lions pass defense is very weak, among the bottom in the NFL. But it is good to see, considering this is what the Ravens signed Odell for. And if he's starting to ramp up to that level, he's definitely going to be one of the more reliable targets for Lamar. Lamar's passing at a high rate this year, very accurate. So Odell's definitely worth the roster spot. Rashad Bateman, 2 catches, 3 targets, 36 yards, 5.6 PPR points. Nelson got the 1 catch on his lone target for 12 yards and a touchdown. I mean, at this point, I think outside of the obvious Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, OBJ is the guy that I'm considering rostering for pass catchers in Baltimore. If you want to keep Justice Hill on the roster, just because we know Ravens have a bad history with health, I don't mind rostering Justice Hill. It's hard to start him any week, especially with Gus getting the bulk of the carries on any given week. And yeah, like I said, Gus, I don't mind starting him. I really don't at this point.
No, I agree. At least for this next matchup. Because, I mean, yeah, Gus, this was his second game breaking double digits. And, he did get the touchdown, his second rushing touchdown. He got the 80-yard catch. I like him against Arizona, depending who your running backs are. But I still want to see a bit more separation before I feel comfortable. Like if you're injured, if your running backs are injured, yes, plug him in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think there's necessarily going to be separation in the way of snaps. Kind of like with the Ravens, it's more of a package type of play style. Like Gus will be in there when they're going to run the ball more, and he doesn't run many routes. So if they want guys running routes out of the backfield, that's when Justice Hill comes in. But you're still going to see that separation in most games with Gus getting the larger bulk of the carries. So that's what I like Gus for, the purpose of a volume play, because I think he's good for at least 10 carries in any given game. For most of his career, he's been known to go for at least 5 yards per carry. So considering that if he breaks 1 or 2, gets more than 10 carries, whatever, you could put him at least like 5-6 points per game. Just knowing a lot of guys might burn you. And if he falls into the end zone, that gives you another 6, happens to catch a pass, so on and so forth. So it just gives you a solid base where he's going to get volume running the ball every game, and he's not going to burn you in that regard.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. 100%. It's a good game for the Ravens in that soft defense.
Yeah, I'm glad it's softer than the Raiders.
Was last time we played. All right, we could wrap it up.
Yeah, like the Raiders season. Okay, yeah, that'll be all for this one. We'll see you guys.
All right, see you guys.